in a train wreck. Give me a second here. Okay. Welcome. What a train wreck. And you are currently staring at my Minvo screen. I will explain. You're not staring at my co-host, Nick Nalbach. Nick is going to join us in just a few. He left it to me to get things started solo, and I'm doing a fine job of that at the moment. Pow. Yeah, so here we are. Today, we're going to dig into a few things. And by the way, thanks to Jonathan Howard in the chat who gave me the heads up that he couldn't hear me. I think you can hear me now. And what we're doing today is a few things. When Nick joins us, we're going to dig into YouTube strategies, some stuff that we are implementing in our own content, in Minvo content, etc. We're also going to dig into Minvo as well, some of the goal-setting features that Minvo has recently implemented. And first, to kill a little time while we wait for Nick, I'm going to show you how I go about using Minvo. So what you're looking at here on screen, and let me make sure you are in fact seeing it here on screen. I'm pulling it up here. Yes, you are. So what I'm going to do is, this is a video from our Empowered Podcasting Conference that we held in person in Charlotte, North Carolina, the weekend of June 28th. That was the first time Nick and I actually met face-to-face in person. We've done plenty of get-togethers virtually, and this was our first in-person get-together among a lot of other of our internet friends. We had a really successful event. This talk here is with somebody from our community, from the Podcasting Morning Chat. That's our daily live stream and podcast that Nick and I do, along with some others. And Val was the person I was interviewing on stage. We called it a fireside chat. And actually, the title that you're seeing here on clip number 5 that it pulled from our half-hour interview, it's called Overcoming Grief Through Empowered Podcasting. And that was pretty much the main theme of that interview, because Val had gone through a lot of grief a few years ago, happened to find podcasting, and it really helped her through a lot of her grieving and was a big component to her grieving process. So we dug into a lot of that, and this happens to be one of the clips. I've already done a clip and actually published it as well. I will say the video quality isn't the best because A, it's a little bit from a distance. B, I think this does come from Val's phone, and I think she used the front side camera. So a little pro tip for you. If you ever want to use your phone, most phones, smartphones these days, especially iPhones from, say 11 or 12 up, and of course, a lot of Androids as well, some of the more recent models, you've got a really quality camera on that phone. And I highly suggest using it, but make sure you're using the one on the back side, because that's going to give you the highest quality. So anyway, we're going to dig in here. I'm going to pull up the proper window to do so. And we're going to edit this. I'm going to show you how I do this. And it looks like Nick will be joining us here in just a second. And okay, let's first, this is a 43-second clip. What I like to do first is watch these all the way through. So let's see how this does.
There are people who say, I got knocked down and now I'm standing up and I'm moving forward at a rate that I've never gone before. And that's empowering.
Thank you for that. And like I said, it's been something that I've had to learn and relearn. And I think I went through grief recovery about 2 or 3 times while I was podcasting. But it felt so good to have something productive to do every single week during the lockdown. And then as things grew, how I found out empowered podcasting was through Dominic. I'm saying his name wrong. And he was like, you need to come here because...
And then it gets cut off. I see Nick has joined us. So first, good afternoon to you, Nick.
I made it.
You made
A
it.
little late, but made it.
Hey, real life sometimes gets in the way, and thank you for finding room to do this with me. I appreciate it. I was just, as you probably saw, was just digging into potentially working on a clip here. But now that you're here, I feel like it might be smart to just jump right in to some of the stuff you were going to show us. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm cool with whatever. How long or how far along are you into the clip?
I just showed the clip, went through it for the first time with our audience, so
Okay.
I haven't done much.
All right. I mean, I'm cool
I'll do one
transitioning if
thing.
you are.
I'll share a couple of things that I noticed on the watch through, and as I was suggesting to our viewers, I like to go through and just watch it all the way through first, because it sometimes triggers, oh, I got to do this, oh, I got to do that. And even if I don't write it all down, it just kind of gets my mind, going and remembering some of the things I want to do. So I like to do that little watch through first. But one of the things I was noticing, there was a big pause right here, and you can see, and this was something I've shared recently on the Procast, you can delete this dead space very easily just by rolling your mouse over it and tapping the scissors and then hit delete, and boom, it just instantly gets rid of that gap. And
Before, and that's power.
Thank you for that. And like I said, it's been something that I've had to.
So what I would probably do in this case, I'll just show these quick things that I noticed on the watch through. So she says thank you twice. I don't think we need that. So one of two things you could do. You could delete each word here by just tapping on it and then cutting it out. You can also do it within the transcript here. Thank you, thank you. So what I personally would probably do here is grab the tab and bring it over a little bit and start it at the second thank you. I like to, every second counts when it comes to short form video. So I like to cut out the unnecessary words. So thank you, that one is removed. And then she also said, like I said, twice here. So I would even probably get rid of these here. Like I said, it's just, and then start with like I said. Or maybe even you just start with it's been, and you get rid of all the like I said's, depending on how much time you want to cut out. So yeah, those are the first things I notice. I probably would also be cutting out the end, or because the very end, she starts going into a story about who recommended that she check out the community. I might go in and hit the extend trim moment and start looking at, what else is here. And I like to over add and then remove as I go. I find it just more freeing and easier to do and edit, and gives you more to work with. And so that's why I do that.
I have actually not used that extend trim moment feature. That's pretty
really?
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just click on the spot that you want to extend to, and then you can see it highlights everything. You can, I believe, you can also click on the word, say where you want it to start, where you want it to end. It's really handy. And, where sometimes Minvo, although it does pull some really great clips, sometimes it doesn't pull some of the juicier parts that I want it to pull. So I will extend it and go find it and add to it. So yeah, it's a really handy, easy feature to use.
No, that's very awesome. I think a lot of times I would just go create my own clip. I feel like I should know that existed, and I did not know it existed.
Hey, anytime I can out Minvo you, Nick, that's a win for me. So I'll take it. Yeah, so you want to go ahead and show us, I did tease that you're going to show us some YouTube strategies today, and we're going to discuss the newer feature by Minvo, that goal setting feature. I think we just briefly mentioned it on the last episode, and now we're going to dig into it a little bit more today.
Yeah, so I think the best place to start would be with the goal setting, because it naturally leads into the YouTube stuff that I want to talk about. So anybody who's not seen it yet, I did release a video on the YouTube channel about goal setting specifically. So if you've seen that already, this might be a little bit of a refresher, but if you've not seen it yet, that's what I kind of want to show you here. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. Make sure I'm picking the right one. Let's just go.
By the way, good to see some people in the chat while you're looking at that. We've had some people. Thankfully, Nick, it was a bit of a train wreck to get things started. I had no volume coming through, and I had people telling me in the chat that there was no volume. So thank you to David. Man. Thank you to Jonathan for chiming in and giving me that heads up. Good to have you here. And if you have questions, just let us know.
Awesome. Are you able to see the screen? I just want to make sure before I keep going.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, actually, we're in the Minvo brand, so I won't mess up too much stuff for David. But so when you come to the new, like the main screen on Minvo, you'll notice that it does look a little bit different now. There's some stuff moved around, but most notably, you have this section on the side here that has posts and views, and these are essentially goals that you can input into Minvo, and it'll track the content as you create it and publish it on the social media platforms to kind of hold yourself accountable a little bit. Make sure that you're putting out the content that you say you're going to put out. We can all use a little bit of goal setting and accountability when it comes to content, because it can seem like a hamster wheel at times. So it is extremely simple to set the goals. So you come in here and you can click on either one of these little like compose or edit buttons. And then it pops up and it says, okay, how many posts do you want to create per month? And this is across all social platforms. So if you want to create 12 across, like, that's 12 total. So if you're doing TikTok, Instagram, Shorts, all the different channels, maybe 12 across all of those is a little low. Maybe you want 3 per week per channel, or 4 per week, or every day per channel. That's going to be up to you. So you can see we have 12 in there right now. And then how many views per month do you want to get? So you can put in whatever your view goal is.
And that's views across the entire...
Across all
month.
Channels.
Okay.
So I'm logged into the wrong account here, but I wanted to log in because I do have stuff tracked. Not a lot because I'm only using YouTube, but so if we go to YouTube here, okay, so you can see I have my post goal, which again is 12. That's what I have set as my goal, and I've published 3 already. And then I have a goal of 5,000, and I've only gotten 35 views. So
okay,
YouTube Shorts, YouTube Shorts are not doing well for me at the moment. Oops. So got to play with that. But to be honest, I haven't. This is like the first week I've posted Shorts in a while, so to be expected.
You've been on the long form train lately, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm dipping back into Shorts and playing with Shorts a little bit, and yeah, so we're starting small.
Yeah. And by the way, Nick, we got to coordinate better when it comes to show days and not wear the same exact shirt. I know we're representing, but it's a little much.
You know, I grabbed the shirt this morning and I was like, I wonder if Mark is going to wear this shirt. And then I was like, screw it, whatever.
Yeah. Pretty much same thing that happened to me too this morning. Yep.
That's funny. So once those goals are set, Minvo is now going to start tracking when you create content. Well, actually, I guess before that, we do want to make sure that we have our social media accounts connected here. It says connect. You can click on any one of these to connect your account specifically, or if you come to the top here where it says social, this is another place you can click on accounts on the side here, and it'll show you all of the accounts that you have connected currently. So you can see I got the YouTube, I got LinkedIn, and I got TikTok connected. But you can connect Instagram and Facebook as well. What is cool, and that I really appreciate that they did with this, is all of these brands that you have on the side here. Like you can see we have the Next Gen Podcaster, I have the AI Briefing, the Next Gen YouTube channel. All of these have independent goals. So when I come over back to the Next Gen Podcaster one, you can see on the side here, we have still 12 as our post goal, but now our view goal is 7.5 thousand, whereas the other one was 5,000. And same thing with your connected accounts. The YouTube channel isn't showing here under the Next Gen Podcaster that it was showing on the YouTube channel version. So this is actually really helpful if you're managing multiple clients, like if you are a social media manager or video editor and you have to keep track of all your different clients. You can kind of walk through this process with them and say, okay, what are our goals for the month? Like how many posts do we want? How many views do we want? And then you can come back in here and kind of check with that client, if you will. Or in our case, we're not necessarily dealing with clients, but different types of content, like the AI Briefing podcast or the YouTube channel. All those are independent, so we can set independent goals for them.
Yep. And
So-
those are unlimited, right? With a Minvo account, you can create as many of those as you want.
Yep, boast to unlimited accounts. So yeah, if you had 10 Instagram accounts, you could connect all 10 of them and publish across all of them. I really like this. To me, it's really simple, and you don't have a bunch of limitations that you might get with some other platforms like Buffer or Later, where it's like you can connect 3 accounts and then you can't do anything else. So that is very nice.
Yeah.
Then I'll go back over to this one here. Once that is connected and you start scheduling out your content, so you can see here I got a couple that were scheduled out and published. That is when Minvo will actually start tracking your analytics. And I think this is an important thing to note in all of this is if you go create the clip and then you download the clip and then you go manually schedule it or publish it to the social media platforms, there's no way for Minvo to actually track that. So in order for this stuff to be tracked as far as your views down here, but then also contributing to your goals that you set, they do have to be scheduled or published through Minvo specifically. I just feel like that's important to note. It's not just going to scan your social media account all the time and see that you published 10 posts when only 2 of them came out of Minvo. So it does need that connection. Okay, I'll stop there for the moment.
Cool.
Do we have any questions to start here? Do you have any questions, Mark?
Not at the moment. I don't have any questions. I guess, well, the one that came to mind, so when we're going back to the multiple accounts thing, and if, let's say, we've got, 5, 6 clients that we're doing this with, can we create and track goals separately for each client, or is it going to add up everything that we're doing, even if it's, among different clients?
No, they're all independent. So
Okay.
this one, the views, you can see like this views are at 70 or at 5,000 views for this version or this channel. In the Next Gen Podcaster channel, it's set up independently. 12 just for some reason seems to be the recurring number. I think 3 posts a week, but 7.5 thousand on the Next Gen Podcaster one. So these are all independent per workspace or brand. So you could have as many brands as here with all different goals if you wanted to.
Okay, cool.
And we can actually...
Here's a question. We've got a question from Jonathan asking, is Minvo a preferred meta partner? I don't know that I can answer that. Do you know?
I don't know. I guess I don't even know what that
we
means.
Will find out. That's an interesting question and a good question. And another one is, does the goal setting feature keep a month-to-month history?
Well, let's see. I want to say it does, but I could be wrong. Hey, here we go. So it shows you all the posts that you published, and I don't think I have anything in June here, so it's not going to show me anything. But
Yeah, well, it's a brand new feature, yeah.
Yep. So you can jump to the different months and see how many views, comments, likes. So yeah, you do get a good month look at all of your stuff, which I didn't know about that. So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, great question. And yeah, that's really helpful. Good to see, especially if you've got long-term goals that you're working toward. I think that's really handy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the big things when we're setting these goals. Something to keep in mind is it's one thing to set the goals, and it's one thing to act on the goals, and try to achieve them. But coming back and looking at your stats and seeing what is actually going on, like that's probably more important than any of this. Well, creating the content, obviously, but going back and actually seeing what the stats say and analyzing the content, because you could look at these videos and I could see, okay, this one's got 3 views, this one's got 2 views. What's different between these two? This one got me more views. And then being able to assess moving forward how you want your like total strategy to be, but then also be able to make adjustments to your goals themselves.
Yep. That
So,
makes
yeah, that's
sense.
a great question. Glad you brought it up.
Yep. Yep. And I think that those are all the questions. I've looked at YouTube as, oh, let's see. I lied. Okay, no, this is just somebody asking if we see comments on YouTube. I'll tell them, yes, we do. Maybe this person has a question as well. Okay,
Are they
yes.
coming to Riverside?
No, they're not coming through. So yes, we use Riverside to stream live, and they do offer this live stream chat that looks, and from what I understand, it's supposed to congregate from all the platforms that we stream to and put it all in this one central place for us. But I haven't seen a single one come through yet, so we'll have to look into that, Nick.
All right. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah. Cool. So,
So-
you feel like we've gone through the goal setting?
I think so.
Okay.
Unless we have other questions that pop up, and by all means, put them in the chat. We'll address them as they come up. But what we can do now, and kind of the next piece of this, obviously we talked about setting the goals, but I mentioned that we have to actually schedule through Minvo. And I don't know if anyone watching here, if you've actually scheduled posts through Minvo specifically, but it's pretty sweet. It's a pretty smooth process. So I did want to touch on this, and then a few kind of disclaimer and tips for YouTube specifically, because I've been hearing a lot and I've seen it myself as well, maybe not on as big a scale as some of these other creators, but something that I think is worth keeping in mind. So we get to our clips. We'll just select this one here that was currently being edited. I'm not going to edit this all up and do all of the things to it right now, but just to kind of show you that scheduling process so that your goals are being tracked, so you can get those analytics and etc. So we're going to say that this video is fully edited, ready to go. I want to publish it on my social media channels. So we're going to come up to export, and we have the option to download, text to phone, or post to social. So we're going to post to social here. And now you can see all of the channels that you have or don't have. You can see I don't have Instagram connected. I don't have Facebook. But I do have LinkedIn and several different pages in LinkedIn. And then YouTube. Now, what I do appreciate with this whole process here is that writing captions is probably my least favorite thing to do. Like,
I hear you.
I can create the video, I can edit, like that's fine, and then I get to publishing it, and I don't want to publish it because I don't want to write the damn caption.
Mm-hmm.
So here, we can have AI write the caption for us. And what is neat about this is rather than telling ChatGPT, hey, write a social media caption about a video pertaining to XYZ, or feeding it a transcript, Minvo already has the transcript for this video. It knows what the video is about. So when it's writing a caption, it's going to write the caption for that specific video. So pretty slick. Now, this is something new that they added pretty recently as well. You can pick, do I want a trendy caption, a funny caption, casual, professional, informative. Let's try funny. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how funny it actually is.
Yeah. So it says, my AI voiceover made people say no, but then they watched the video and changed their minds. Who knew AI could be so persuasive?
Okay. AI.
It's funny that it's not funny.
Yeah, right. AI has not quite mastered humor yet. This is not a Minvo problem. This is an AI problem, I think.
100%.
And that's okay too, right? Like, it's not terrible, and I like it because it doesn't necessarily feel like it's AI generated. It's not using those cliche words it always does, and as we always encourage people to do, go through this and tweak it a little bit to make sure it sounds like you would be saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and I use this a lot for content, even just as like a starting point.
Yep.
There are a lot of times where I'll generate the caption and I go back in and tweak it. It's something you and I talk about a lot, Mark, is the AI is good at getting the ideas down and then allowing you to kind of manipulate, move stuff around, change stuff. So I do like it because it's like giving me a starting point for something that I already hate doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes that process a lot easier. So you can also, there's a suggested hashtags, which the caption already gave hashtags. So if I click this again, I don't know what it's, oh, it recreated them. Oh, and added more. Okay.
Okay, that's cool. So it'll keep the ones that it originally gives you, and then if you want more, it'll add more. And you can remove the other ones if you want.
Yep, that's cool.
That's cool.
So then when it comes to publishing, you select your privacy status, and each of the channels are going to have different settings that you have to select. I think TikTok has a couple more, like who can see this post kind of thing. So you can set it public, unlisted, private.
So how does
I'll
that
come back
work,
to that.
Nick? So do you have to then go into the TikTok one and change those privacy settings, or does it work across the board somehow?
So I just clicked on TikTok here. Now you can see we have a privacy status on TikTok. So again, public to everyone. Interaction ability, allow comments. These are settings that I think content disclosure settings. Okay. These are settings that I think you get when you're publishing on TikTok specifically, that they're just letting you access them here before you hit publish. But it did pull the caption over directly from the one that we just generated on YouTube.
Yep. Cool.
Likewise, LinkedIn. I don't think there's really too many settings that go with LinkedIn. It's just going to publish the post. So then when you're ready to go, all you have to do is hit schedule, pick a time, or pick a date that you want to schedule it. So we'll say here, pick a time. You can choose one of the recommended times. I don't know where these recommended times come from. If they, like Minvo found that these times work best, or if it's just a way to kind of scatter your posts throughout the day as opposed to like back to back to back to back,
Yeah.
or I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't either. And I can tell you by looking at those that they are fairly accurate as far as popular times that people are using the social media apps. And you can get that information very specific to you and your account. For example, on Instagram, I know when you go into your insights section, you can see by day what are the most popular times that your particular audience is using that platform. It's very helpful, but these are pretty on point with the overall averages.
Yeah, I would just want to reiterate and hit on something you said. It's going to come down to your audience. It's going to be your content. These are great starting points.
Yeah.
Especially if you're just starting fresh, brand new account, you don't really have any data to go off of. Using these recommended times is probably a good place to start and see till you start getting some analytics coming in that you can actually see what is working, what isn't working. I have noticed several creators talking about being very specific about the times they post.
Mm-hmm.
And it is because certain times just do better for them.
Yep.
And you talk to another creator and it's a different time that does better for them. But if they deviate from that plan in any way, then their views suddenly drop. And it's just across the board. It's going to take experimenting. It's going to take playing with it, especially in the beginning. Post for a week of posting at the same time, see what happens. Post for another week, multiple times at the same time, see what happens. And it's just going to be kind of playing with it until you find the right spot for you and your content specifically.
Yeah. And same with the platform. It's going to vary from platform to platform. I happen to know that my Instagram content performs better in the afternoons. Usually, if I'm posting around 3 or 4, those tend to, generally speaking, do better. And then with TikTok, it's usually better for me personally when I'm posting at night. Like later in the evening, and I tend to find that it does really well overnight, and then the next day I wake up to a whole bunch of views, comments, etc. So yeah, it really is a matter of experimentation, like you were saying.
And sometimes I feel like it's a moving target. I feel like you and I were hitting Instagram super heavy with the reels, and we were like sharing back and forth, like, oh, when I post at this time, like it does way better than when I post at this time. And I feel like at one point we were posting in the morning, and then we started getting later and later until we were like posting at like 5 in the afternoon. And then we're like, it's not working anymore. Now when do we post? And like it seems like it's a moving target at times, but
Yeah.
that's where understanding and just taking notice of what's happening with your content is extremely important.
Yeah, and being flexible.
Right.
Yeah.
So one thing, I've heard this a lot, and it's mainly for all these different social media schedulers and things like that. And I don't know if you've heard this, Mark, but a lot of times I've heard like content that is scheduled through other platforms doesn't do as well than when you natively post it to that platform. Like you're actually going to Facebook, uploading the video, publishing it, versus using something like Buffer or going into Minvo and scheduling the post directly from here. I don't think that there's hard, conclusive evidence of this, but it is something I'm currently actively testing myself. Part of the reason why I started posting more shorts now is to see if it makes a difference when I publish from here direct to my channel, or if I even just send it as a draft that I can schedule in the platform. So TikTok and Instagram, I don't spend a whole lot of time on lately. I've been more focused on the YouTube side of things. And one thing that I did notice with YouTube is this goes for Minvo, this goes for the actual YouTube app. If you create a short in the app, there are a lot of settings that you can't fill out in the platforms that if you go to YouTube, like in your YouTube studio, that you can actually fill out. And that kind of, I didn't like that. It was like they're giving you YouTube has all these options to fill out for your video, and even YouTube themselves, if you upload from the phone, doesn't even give you those options when you're publishing the short. It's like they have the stuff there for a reason, and if you're not filling it out, I feel like it might hurt your chances of that video doing well. That might be me just looking too deep into it, but I did want to show like a comparison.
Okay, and while you're pulling up that comparison, we've got a question on the YouTube chat, and it's actually coming from David, who is on both the LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time. He's asking about our suggestions for creating good hooks with the clips that are generated by Minvo. And to that question, I mean, yeah, I think sometimes the selected videos, automatically selected by Minvo's AI, I think that sometimes it doesn't hit the mark as far as a good, strong hook. And there are a couple of ways of doing that. One is using a text title as a complement to your hook, or really to try to be the hook if you feel like the actual words being spoken aren't hooky enough. That tends to work well for me. I would try to keep those text titles short and sweet. You don't want them too long, because you want somebody to be able to just, as they're scrolling and scanning, that they can quickly read what that line says. It does capture attention. I find that works really well. I know that coming down the line, I have no idea when, but I do know that we've shared with Minvo, we want that ability to be able to take a section of a clip and move it to a different spot on the timeline. So if that great hook was in the middle, eventually we'll be able to then isolate that one middle part and slide it over to the very beginning of the timeline, and then let the rest of it play out. That's another way. And then I know also where Minvo gives you the ability to upload video, one thing you could do is create your own hook and record that, and then upload it and slide it in to the start of your video on your Minvo timeline. Those are 3 ways that I know of.
The recording the intro thing, that is something that I was doing with my podcast for a while, like near the end of the show, like the end of me doing the show. Um, because when you're just kind of thrown into a conversation in like a podcast interview or something like that, like it's almost like jarring, but not in like a good way. you,
Yeah.
you feel kind of left out of the loop in the conversation. Like you're just all of a sudden thrown into a conversation people are having and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I was actually going and I was recording like an intro, like, I don't know, some hooky, like 5 ways to, I don't know, do something.
Yeah.
I'm drawing total blanks, but I would actually record that intro, and I didn't have Minvo at the time, but now I would probably record that intro, throw it into Minvo as my intro in Minvo, and all your other edits and everything stay with that video. So it'd be really easy to do, and I think it would just be a more effective way of grabbing someone's attention, just because you're creating that hook specifically for that video and not necessarily fishing it out of content that already exists. Obviously, it takes a little bit more time, but that's kind of your choice to do with what you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to show us this comparison, right?
Yes. So if we look at YouTube here, these are the settings that we get, and it's not much different on the YouTube app itself if you're on the phone. So it's not just like a Minvo thing not having the features or the boxes. But so we have a title, we have the privacy status, and then we have a description. Those are the 3 options. When we come into YouTube itself, we got the title and description. We have an option, do we want to add this to a playlist? Then we have some of these other settings. Is it made for kids, not made for kids? Altered content. Do any of the following describe your content? Makes a real person appear, like this AI related stuff. We have all these different checkboxes, which some of these might be preset. We have tags, which they're not going to make or break your video, but they can definitely help. And then we have all of these language and certification settings, which again, I think they're not crucial, but they definitely can't hurt. I am testing and comparing to see if they make a difference. But we're in the beginning stages of that. Then we have recording date, video location, the license. This I always leave as default. Allow embedding. Like you can see there's a lot of different things, categories, a lot of different things that you can adjust on the back end here that, I don't know. I just feel like if it's there, we should be filling it out. I mean, what do you
Right.
think, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, if they have it there, they clearly want you to use it. They find it important. So, you know, what I always preach is try to utilize all of the bells and whistles that these platforms are providing you, because I do think that makes somewhat of a difference when it comes to pleasing that algorithm.
Mm-hmm. That was exactly my thought. And one of the big ones that I really like now with shorts, if you didn't know this already, you can connect a related video from that short. So you can see related video here says none. I can come in here and I can set one of these, like, let's just, I don't know. I'm not going to actually set it, but I can set any of these videos as a related video. So when it shows up on someone's like shorts feed, they can actually just click the little link and it'll jump them to the long form video, which I think is super handy because shorts is typically viewed as a platform for high view counts, engagement, like attracting a large amount of people. But then it's like, how do I get them over to my long form content? Putting a related video, I'm just thinking like a short from your podcast episode. Then you can add your podcast episode as the related video. Like,
Yeah.
check out more from this episode.
It's like providing the preview to the whole episode. It makes complete sense.
Exactly. So rather, like, I want Minvo to track my analytics. So I don't necessarily want to upload directly to YouTube. So I want to be able to track my goals. So rather than setting this as public, I'll set this as either unlisted or private, and then I'll schedule it. And you can, if you're going to do that, you can schedule it like for right now, this moment, and mark it as one of these. Then you're going to have Minvo or your video pop up here in your drafts for this content. And then you can come in and you can edit the additional content if you want to add playlists, adjust these other settings, and then actually go ahead and schedule the content directly from YouTube. It's an extra step. Is it 100% necessary? I doubt it, but it's just something that I'm doing currently to make sure that I'm kind of checking off all the boxes on that list that YouTube gives me. And it makes me feel better that the stuff is fully completed and I can't come back and say, well, that video didn't do good because I didn't have tags in that video. Or speculate of whether or not the video did well because it didn't have tags in it.
That's cool. I like that strategy. And I mean, I guess really the jury's still out. It's not that we have no idea. It's that we're testing this just like we're encouraging others to test things. And we'll keep sharing and let people know if, you know, this strategy is working or not. Yeah.
So let me
Cool.
stop
And
sharing there.
there are a couple of questions.
Sweet.
Let's see here. Let me see what I saw. Can you schedule the posts using Minvo on different days for different platforms? And I think the answer is yes. Is that fair? Different
Yeah,
days,
you should.
different platforms.
Yes. Here, I'll pull my screen back up. Let's jump back. Where was I? Oh, right here. Okay, so if we wanted to, we could schedule this one. Here, I'll mark it as private and just schedule it. So I'll schedule it for today at 12:50, so 5 minutes from now. But again, it's unlisted, so it's not going to be a big deal. Then we could come down into TikTok, and we're going to save this as a draft. I'll leave the caption, all that stuff is the same. I'm going to hit schedule. And I can schedule this for maybe next week at 12:50. Hit schedule. Your moment has been scheduled. So
Nice.
yes, you can definitely schedule. And if you come back to the front of Minvo, you call it the front, like the first page where all of your videos are at, you can actually see your entire content calendar as well, which is kind of nice. Which is,
Yeah.
it's not even it's not showing my YouTube one, but it is showing. It is showing next week's TikTok.
That's cool.
Oh no, it does say July 9th. It's just not showing here.
That's awesome.
So I
All
do
right.
like that as well.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's helpful. Let's see if I have any other questions for us. I think that's it. I realize there's probably a few chats going on LinkedIn right now because I think it's posting to multiple places. So I'm bouncing between here. Yeah, I think those are the main questions that we've had this morning, which has been great. Thank you for everybody, I should say, for participating and joining us in the chat. We've been waiting for you. So thank you for coming. And yeah, we're hoping that more and more of you start joining us here 12 p.m. Eastern time every Tuesday afternoon. We are doing, and today, yeah, it was a little more Minvo heavy. It's not always. Sometimes it's barely any talk of Minvo at all. But when we find some cool features from Minvo that we think is going to be helpful to you, we're going to share it with you just like we would any other tool. So I hope that was helpful. Anything else, Nick, or you think we've covered it all for today?
I think we got most of it. I mean, obviously we mentioned this already, but continue to test, play with different things. Don't be afraid to stray from the initial plan to experiment on something, but I would say give it some time. Don't put out one post that is different, like you're scheduling at 12 every day and then you decide to schedule at 5 and the video doesn't do well that one time, so you're like, I can never post at 5 again. Like you need more data than just a single data point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So give it some time, give it a week, give it a month. Like if you have the patience to give it an entire month of testing a specific thing, and only do one adjustment at a time is what I'm going to say, because it's going to be a lot easier to track and see what happens versus like if you publish out a new video and you do 100 different things and then the video does really well, you're not going to know what of those 100 different things did well, or if a video did really bad, you're not going to know what of those 100 things made the video go bad.
Yeah.
So incrementally test and experiment and just slowly build up what is going to be your content audience view engagement generating machine.
Yeah. And by the way, David is asking, can you explain how do you use B-roll automatically and why use B-roll? Let me quickly say, first of all, there are several ways you can do it. When you're uploading your video to Minvo, it gives you the options, and B-roll being one of them, adding video or GIFs or what have you. The other option is when you are in a clip editing it, there's a little towards the top right, right above the timeline editor of Minvo. On the left-hand side, there's a little plus button that gives you options to add different types of B-roll, whether it's still images, video, GIF, sound effects, text, titles, etc. The reason for B-roll really varies. One might be that maybe you're using it to cover up some low-quality video. The actual video with the content might not be up to your standard, and you want to try to cover that up with images, video, etc. That's maybe higher quality. That helps tell the story, which leads to my second point. That is what B-roll also can be about. It's helping your story move along. It's helping to add another layer to that story. So I think those are some key reasons to use it. And lastly, it's to help keep the viewer's attention. If it's just you talking to the camera for, let's say, 60 seconds, sure, you might have some really compelling things to share, but it might still get a little boring for those short form video consumers who are just looking for quick fixes, right? So in order to keep their attention, putting up different images, different video while you're speaking to camera it creates a pattern disrupt for the user. It keeps their attention a little bit longer and hopefully keeps them all the way through your video. So those are some of the main reasons I have. Anything else you think there's to add there, Nick?
No, I mainly use it just so people don't have to look at my ugly mug all day.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And let's see, another question. Well, this will be the final one. Are there plans to add features to create a clip with multiple parts of the same video? Yes, I know that is in discussion. I'm not officially speaking for Minvo, but I do know that is something on their radar. I can't tell you when. And if we find out, we'll let you know. And last thing I want to say, since we have people participating today, we want more people from the Minvo community to come join us here on video and talk about your experiences creating short form content. Tell us what's working well for you, what's not working well. Let's talk through it so that A, we can help other users, and B, we can help you too. So if you want to be a part of the Minvo Procast and join us on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, just use our Discord channel. We have a channel within the Minvo channel for the Procast. Go there, drop us a note, tell us, hey, I'd love to join you guys, and we'll reach out and make that happen. And with that, we are done with another episode of the Minvo Procast. Thank you all for joining us. Nick, thank you for the demo. Appreciate that. I always learn a few extra things, and I know you learned something today too. So mutual benefit for both of us. And we hope that our audience has learned a few things as well. Thank you. We are back next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Come join us. We do have a guest coming up, I think not next week, but the following week, a guest from that Minvo community that we were talking about, sharing some pretty big success stories with their short form videos. So join us then. Join us next week. We'll see you next time. Make it a